afternoon, everybody. Hopefully this conscious coffee without the coffee will end in a parking lot, but I've got to get to the other side of town. So I decided that I might as well do it while driving, even though I'm not that particularly fond of doing conscious coffee while I'm driving because of the bounce, and because with the bounce of the car is also the bounce of my thought. I'm not as clear because I'm not present on conscious coffee, I'm present on driving. So it just doesn't make, in my opinion, the best conscious coffees. But with that said, I thought this is a great moment to just kind of bring the concept of being fucked wide open into play. You know, many years ago, many moons ago, as I like to say, right? Many moons ago, I believe I actually went out of the sexual gates, so lost my virginity into being fucked wide open. I was blessed with a gentleman with a young man who was gifted and smarter than what any 19-year-old boy should be, but he really truly was, and I am eternally grateful for him. My lifelong friend and lover, spiritual lover, you could say. So I definitely went out the sexual gates of being fucked wide open and having beautiful, full body, energetic, orgasmic sex and intimacy and deep vulnerability and relating with somebody right away. And that just made me spoiled. It did. It spoiled me instantaneously. My heart was opened at this depth that I thought was normal. I thought was the way it was supposed to be, and that's how all love would be. I'm not talking puppy dog love. I'm not talking about that typical teenage sex and love and all that. There was a depth, a richness, and earthiness to our sexing and our relationship, which I believe is why we are still really, truly the closest and dearest of friends even today, 25 plus years later that we're talking. So from there, I went into this timeline of average and ordinary after him. I went into a timeline of average and ordinary intimacy, average and ordinary sexing, average and ordinary relating. And it wasn't that my partner didn't love me. I believe he still loves me. We have a good, healthy relationship for our children and for ourselves, but he couldn't love me at that level. He could not love me at that rich, deep level that I had opened up to so fresh in the relationship intimacy game. So there was always a state of emptiness. There was just a disconnect. There was an incompletion to our relationship. There was good and there was bad, but we're talking about just that depth. That's that beautiful fucking open, like touching the big toe of God, going to being just thrown out into the universe and back, and the richness and the sultriness and just the juiciness of that love, that intimacy, that vulnerability, the surrender, the orgasm, the energetics. And I had average, which would be just meh, in my opinion. It's like McDonald's, or I'm driving past Applebee's. We'll call it Applebee's relating and sexing, because it wasn't McDonald's. Some of it was McDonald's. Some of it was more Applebee's. Sorry, Applebee's, for promoting you like this. I don't even eat at Applebee's. I don't eat that processed crap. But, but another story, another topic, nutrition there. But, I had that as a marriage, and I lived a long time believing that what I had tasted so early on was never going to come about again. Never, ever going to come about again. Never did I believe that I could enter into another relationship where I could be in the raptures that deep, so soul bare to somebody, and experience every aspect of them and desire to reveal every aspect of myself, because in the revealing was the orgasm, in the revealing was the richness, was the juiciness, and it was more than the sexing, although the sexing was fucking amazing, right? But it was so much more. It was the little looks across the room. It was the touch of a hand. It was the breath on the skin. It was a text message or an email, all these little things. So I didn't think that that was possible. But about 9-10 years ago, I met a man. Story of my life. I met a man 9-10 years ago who woke me up after a very long slumber of average and ordinary. And I felt like I could walk on water with him. I felt like I was just floating up in the clouds. It was ecstasy in almost every single moment. And for 7 years, we experienced this depth and this richness and beautiful, beautiful experience together. And I can truly say that this particular man opened me up in a deeper level than the original man who took me out of the sexual gates and expanded me in that way, which I thought was not possible, that I would never ever have that again. And then, many years later, it did come to me again, and it came to me 100-fold. It was bigger, it was richer, it was deeper, it was more complex. It was so much more to savor, so much more to just relish in and enjoy and expand and reach out into the omniverses of love and orgasm and connection and intimacy and vulnerability. And then it came to an end. I share this with you because somebody yesterday said to me, who has known me since 2017, when this particular person was still in my life, and somebody had mentioned to me and said, "You're missing a spark, Kendal. You're missing a spark. I mean, like, you're glowy and you're radiant and you're turned on to life, and I see all that, but you're missing something. Is just not quite what you were back in 2017, and I can't put my finger on it. And when this person mentioned this to me, it just made me realize what was missing. And my next realization was, you can't force that shit. You can't make that shit happen. You can't go out and hunt for it. You can't say, this person will become this. I will have this kind of chemistry. I will have this kind of energetics with this person. I will have this kind of intimacy with this person. And so often I have couples in my office that are hungry for all that I just spoke of. So hungry for all that I just spoke of. I'm sorry, I'm entering the Target parking lot in Frisco, Texas. So, because I'm going to do a little bit of computer work from Starbucks before a dentist appointment with my 4-year-old. But so many couples come to me and they want that richness, they want that intimacy, they want that depth, they want all of this stuff, and they tell me, I want that with this person. I want what you talk about in your tales of love and romance and intimacy and orgasmic gourmet sexing. I want all that. And I want it with this person, demanding it to be with this one, the one that they have deemed that that's the one that it has to be with, and that's just the way it is. And we're going to force the energetics, we're going to force the physical attraction, we're going to force the heart-opening surrender, we're going to force all of this. And does this sound very sexy or very, very romantic, to force somebody into this? We can't force another person, and we certainly cannot force our energy to connect, collide with another in any format, in any fashion. We may have the desire for it to happen, but the forcing of it will never make it happen. Wow, that guy just took my parking spot. The forcing of it will never make it happen. If you've not had that kind of connection with somebody, you can't expect to have it. And sometimes connections are one-sided. Sometimes what we're typically wanting when we say that we want this juiciness, this sexiness, that, this omniverse expansion, you could say, that I'm talking about, touching the big toe of God. When we talk about that, we are looking at it and we're wanting everything and all of this yumminess, and we want it to be on both sides of things. But a lot of the times one person will have a spark that is deeper than the other. You definitely are always aligned and in the perfect relationship for wherever you are at in your moments in time, in your experience, in your learning, in the mirroring that you are needing for your own healing and awakening to self, because that's what relationship is. It is an awakening to self. Our partners that we call in, our friends that we call in, the relationships, the close relationship that we have, it's all about a mirroring process so that we can awaken to our truth, to who we authentically are, and so that we can heal our wounds, we can heal our egoic ways, and that we can really truly come into this point of power. And our intimate relationships are like forefront, center stage for this kind of learning and expansion of the self. So anybody that is in our life is definitely supposed to be there. And maybe we don't resonate with them 100%. Maybe the chemistry isn't 100%. Maybe we're not having these mind-blowing, earth-shattering, heavens opening and singing, experiences. But what we're having, whatever we're having, whether it feels surface, or it feels rich and deep, or it's a little edgy, or it's a little irritating even, it's perfect. But I can tell you that the chances of whatever relationship you have, and if you don't have this relationship that we all want, right? We all want this that kind of connection. If you don't have it with somebody, don't try to force it with them. Don't. Instead, lean in. Enjoy the richness that you have. Enjoy what you have right now. And just embrace it for what it is. Get the lessons from it. Get the exposure. Get the veil lifting experiences that you need from that relationship. And pay attention to how other people are meeting you, how those relationships are really truly developing. What are those energetic connections? Where are you getting pulled? Just because we have an energetic connection to somebody and they might ignite us in some fashion, maybe turn us on, make us feel really sensual, sexy, playful, and those are the positives, right? Just because we have those things doesn't mean that we have to have sex with them, doesn't mean that we have to dump whoever we're with and move into relationship with whoever is floating our boat over here and turning us on. It does not mean that. What we can do is we can play with that energy. We can enjoy it. We can bask in it. We can dance with it without actually entering into an intimate relationship with that other person. We can learn without the sex. And we can take the energy of the playful relationships, as if we don't have a very playful relationship, or maybe it's a playful relationship in a way that isn't fully ignited or massively turned on or something like that. Then when we have that, we can still play with other relationships to help us keep expansion going, to help us grow, to help us ultimately take us to that next level relationship. This person who said, "Hey, Kendal, there's just something missing in you lately. There's just, over the last 2 years, you've lost this spark, and I don't know exactly what it is." And I was like, "Oh, I know what that is. I know what you're seeing. I'm very aware of what is missing." I'd be a fool to say that it was the person, because it's not the person. It's the energetic connection. That's what's missing. It is the ignition that this person brought. It is the expansion and opening experienced. The loving at this level, because our souls came together and we could open each other, crack each other open at a depth that we had not experienced thus far in our lives. So it made that love, that intimacy, that surrender even more miraculous, I guess you could say, because it was miraculous. It was magical. There was experiences that I pray to God I experience again. And in my heart of hearts, my soul, at a very deep level, I believe that I will experience that again, and then some. I believe that there is 100-fold again, because the truth of the matter is that when we are doing that healing work, and when we really step in and we keep opening and we keep healing and we keep expanding ourselves and digging deeper and deeper, doing that internal work, the work that Tantra talks about, that work that, you know, so few really actually want to venture down. When we do that, though, we do expand ourselves out into this yumminess. While I was driving earlier, I was thinking to myself, how true is it to state, better to have loved and lost than not to have loved at all? And I believe that that statement is a very generalized statement around love. I love so many people, and I've been in love many, many times with many, many people, and there's many men that I can legitimately say that I love today, all unique in their own way. But when I say that statement of better to have loved and lost than to not have loved at all, there is a piece of me that goes, whew, the loss was so tragic. The loss was so tragic. The loss fucked you up, girl, for a couple of years. That's because it was that deep, right? That's because it was that expansion. But the reality is I count my blessings, I count all of it as a blessing because of the lessons, the experience of self, the experience of relationship, the experience of what my heart can open to, the pleasure that I can experience, the depth and connection and surrender, and what that really truly means. And when I'm working with people and they go, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Isn't just a clitoral orgasm the same as anything else? Isn't it just about the friction-based sex? Isn't it just about the get off? It can't, you know, like, why can't we just go and do this and this and this? It's really quite meaningless. Oh no, I love him, but I could just take it or leave it. Like that? Don't understand. You don't understand the richness, the depth. You haven't really truly experienced this thing called unconditional love. Unconditional love, deep, penetrative, just mind-blowing love, that touching of the big toe of God, the earth's opening, the heavens above. Yeah. When you've experienced that, it recalibrates your whole world. It really does. It recalibrates your whole world. And that is what being fucked wide open is truly all about. It's truly, truly all about that. Just being sorry. The guy that I lost my virginity to just texted me. I was talking about him, and here he comes. He's like, hey. I'm like, okay, he must have felt the energy. I was talking about him. I was in the moment. So, no, when we have that getting fucked wide open experience, what we end up doing is shifting our vibration at such a high level, and we open ourselves up to our true power and our true potential, and that's where we become the alchemist of our life, you could say. It's where we truly tap into our inner magician and we make some serious shit happen. When we don't have that experience, all we can do is to know that that's there. And that if we keep ourselves focused on the expansion of self, on the expansion of love, keep our focus on the positives, to keep our attention to what we want, not what we fear. And that's how we gain that, to keep our attention to what we want and not what we fear. Then what it does is we get led to the next person, the next person, the next person, the next opportunity, the next possibility, the next experience. And as we move into these beautiful experiences with maybe the same person or different people, and it just keeps us going, guess what? All of a sudden, instead of hunting or trying to force somebody to become, because I never said that that person couldn't become. I said that you couldn't force them to become. It's in the forcing that we kill it. But when we just focus in on really truly loving what we've got and really just embracing it and expanding ourselves and doing our own deep work, that's where the possibilities, maybe it's the person we're with, maybe it's not. Either way, if we really want to experience that getting fucked wide open experience, that magic and tapping into our own inner magician, then guess what? It's all about just focusing in on right here, loving right here, this moment right here. And as we do that, it's where the good shit happens. It's where it comes in. It's where the magic is. That's where the miracles are. That's where everything is right here. And that's where we get ignited. And that's where we start that fucking open process. So I ask you today to look at, what am I doing for myself to get fucked wide open in this world? And how am I being vulnerable to life? How am I being vulnerable to myself? Am I chasing something? Am I trying to force something? Am I insistent that this will be this way with this person and this is the result that I must have in order for it to work? Or can I bring my attention to the good that is right here, right now? Can I bring myself into the focus of the blessing of right now and the lessons? Can I look at the lessons? And can I remain open? Can I stand with an open heart and feel still powerful and strong and not fearful of having it damaged in any way, but the trust that's in my standing strong in who I am, open, vulnerable, surrendered to life, surrendered to my own pleasure, to my own joy, to my own desires, to my path? Can I stand in that and take a step forward in faith? Because that's what it requires. Ultimately, that's what it requires, is that step forward in faith and that standing first in utter surrender to life and to your pleasure. I think that's about it. I really do. I've had a lot of interesting lovey-dovey things happen. Man, the men are like messaging me crazy right now. Men are messaging me crazy. There's another man. Hold on, let me dump him. Dumping all the men. Okay, not really. Not dumping you guys. If you guys catch this live stream, I'm not dumping you. I'm just moving you off my screen so I can finish my talk. No, I think that is about it. I'm going to leave it at that. That's what I'm going to do. Instead, I'm going to do some emails and connect with all these wonderful, beautiful gentlemen that are now messaging me. And put the notation out to you that, hey, you can have the love that you want. You are worthy of it. You are not too much for it. You are more than enough. You are perfect just the way you are, and you don't have to change you, and you don't have to pretend, and you don't have to settle. You certainly don't have to settle. You're worthy of calling in the love, the life, the sex, the pleasure, the orgasm that you want. You can desire it. And in your desiring, you are creating, you are manifesting it. So get desiring and allow yourself to desire. Shit, we are in December. And in the month of December, we desire a lot of stuff, right? We want to find all this stuff underneath the Christmas tree, and we want everybody to do all this stuff for us. But we also tend to have this yearning right here, or this pulling right here, where we're just like, no, I want something. I want to be seen. I want to be loved. I want to be held. I want to be told that I'm loved. I want connection. I want intimacy. I want to know that somebody's got my back. That's what a lot of us want, right? Especially at this time of the year. It's hard to move through the holidays alone. It's hard to move through the holidays when we're in the midst of a breakup, when we're in the midst of different dramatic things going on in our lives. But I encourage you to keep your focus on what the lesson is, what are you supposed to be gaining from this? And to look and say, what are my blessings in the midst of this? What are my blessings in the midst of this? Because I promise you that everything that is going on right now is happening for your highest and best good. Doesn't mean that you have to be happy with it right now. You're totally okay with getting sad and being angry and even being rageful and just, allowing yourself to feel your emotions. The expression of your emotions is part of your healing process. But with all of that, everything that is occurring right now, and if your relationship's not perfect or it's breaking up, or maybe you just entered into a new relationship and you're extremely hopeful, but still a little scared, know that it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect, and it is moving you toward your highest and best self. Okay, on that note, if you are interested in what's going on in my world, well, there are some amazing workshops that you're going to be seeing come out. I can't talk now. You're going to be seeing come out this next week on my events page, both local and online workshops that are coming out. Addison Bell and I have paired up with Sarah's Secrets, a local sex toy company around the area who has 22 locations. They also do condom scents and everything, so lots and lots of stores. So we're going to be teaching classes and doing live talks and panels for them coming into 2020. We've got, of course, all of our big workshops coming up. We've got the Tantra Reboot coming up in January, which is a powerful, powerful workshop. The date will be set probably by the end of this week, so you can see that stuff coming out. That's the local stuff. New stuff for online people, my beautiful, beautiful people all around the world. Lots and lots of stuff there, which I happen to have right now specials running on everything of the past. And guess what? There are 3 amazing bundle specials. I've got the God fucking awesome goddess bundle. I've got the man the fuck up bundle, and I've got the be the boss of 2020 bundle for all you entrepreneurs. These are bundles where they are marked down 80%. You're getting anywhere from 5 to 8 online home study courses in these bundles, and they are reduced way the fuck down. Make sure that you take advantage of that while they are still up. That page will be coming down on the 26th, so the promo will be gone on the 26th of December, and then everything's back up to its regular price, which can be pretty hefty on some of them. So make sure that you explore that on my website at www.kendalwilliams.com or in the comment section on here. And of course, if you're ever interested in one-on-one coaching or just want to know just more about what the fuck does she do anyway, well, message me in the comment section, or message me privately, text, email, however you want to communicate with me. I am available to you. I love you guys. I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee. And as always, remember, number 1, that you are fucking awesome. You are worthy. You are worth love. You can have that amazing fuck yes life, and you can be fucked wide open in your lovemaking, in your intimacy, in your sex. You can have that. And you can start with being fucked wide open to life in general, which means surrender to your pleasure. Surrender to it. And yes, I love the word fuck. Sorry. Not sorry. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Stop existing. Start living. Make sure that you hit the share button. I love you guys.